What's going on YouTube? JT is Reborn here. Welcome to another Godzilla vs. Kong fan theory video, and in today's video we're going to be discussing how Kong could get his bioelectrical abilities in Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, I'm not the first person to speculate Kong potentially getting these abilities, and a lot of people have speculated it's most likely through Ghidorah, but I want to come up with a scenario as to how and why he would get these abilities from Ghidorah specifically. So, again, this is probably all bullshit. I'm sure Kong will probably just remain your typical ape with using his intelligence, speed, and wits in order to stop Godzilla. But hey, if Godzilla can get upgraded in Godzilla King of the Monsters through his help with Mothra, because Mothra, after she was destroyed by Ghidorah, her cells drifted into Godzilla's body, allowing him to obtain the Burning Godzilla form, and he was able to enhance his abilities and have a nuclear pulse ability to take down Ghidorah. He wasn't able to do that prior, only through fusing with Mothra. So who's to say Kong doesn't get something similar in order to take on Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong? Because if Godzilla can get an advantage like that, Kong deserves an advantage like that too. So what we know so far is in Godzilla King of the Monsters, several things happen. At the end, after credits scene, Ghidorah's head, codenamed Kevin, was found in Isla de Marla, Alan Jonah, and that purchased it because he's been acquiring Titan DNA. And we know that Monarch has been trying to build their own Titans of sorts. So they've been creating their own organic Titans, and it seems like they're also creating Mechagodzilla or whatever. But Ghidorah's head is out there. And what we've seen in the movie, too, is Ghidorah is able to possess, through his cells and DNA, somehow, some way, shape, or form, he's able to conduct bioelectrical currents through his body, and he's able to regenerate. And we've even seen this in the fight in Boston. Like, when the missiles shoot at them, you can see, like, he's able to regenerate other parts of his body, not just his head, even in his wings. Like, all of his cells are capable of regeneration. He's kind of like Cell or Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z. I'd say more along the lines of probably Cell, because, he's not like a blob or anything like that. But, yeah, Ghidorah is, in essence, kind of like Cell with that sense. So Ghidorah is able to regenerate his limbs and body. I think a potential scenario is Godzilla and Kong are going to fight, or perhaps another creature comes involved. During the battle, Kong gets severely wounded, and the only way for Kong to be healed up super quickly, because Godzilla took nuclear energy, they dropped a nuke in front of him, boom, Godzilla got juiced up, and he came back stronger than ever, ready to fight Ghidorah. Kong is a different scenario. We don't know if nuclear energy would exactly heal him up because his biology is different from Godzilla. But I've come to a conclusion that perhaps they inject Ghidorah's DNA into Kong because it has regenerative capabilities. It's the only way they know how to restore his health up to full. But by doing so, he gains new abilities. Since he's able to pull from Ghidorah's DNA, he's able to now conduct bioelectrical currents throughout his body. And he's able to utilize his lightning abilities on whatever threat and team up with Godzilla. So now that he's got the abilities, he can team up and fight alongside Godzilla or fight against Godzilla. It really kind of doesn't matter the situation, but this is a scenario to where he can get these abilities because Godzilla took nuclear energy to restore him in King of the Monsters. But with Kong, since he's a different breed of Titan, he's more along the lines of an ape, I don't see them dropping a nuke in front of him would exactly heal him up. So using Ghidorah's DNA, we know that Ghidorah's head is going to play a factor in Godzilla vs. Kong. We know that. Mike Doherty confirmed it. You can even check out this clip from this interview he did.
In what happens in that post-credit scene, is that something we can anticipate to kind of lead directly into next year's movie? Because I know you have a hand in writing that screenplay as well. Is that kind of the primary thrust of what we should expect, or no?
What you see transpire in the post-credit scene definitely pays off in Godzilla vs. Kong.
Now, with that information, we know very well that the DNA of Ghidorah's head, or that head is going to play a factor in the movie. Whether it's through Monarch or Alan Jonah, they now have the DNA of King Ghidorah, which has possessed regenerative capabilities, which they could use and inject into Kong, kind of like how they did in that movie Star Trek Into Darkness, where Captain Kirk was pretty much sick and dying, and the only way they could save him was by using Khan Noonien Singh's super blood, or whatever. They injected it into Kirk, and then he was able to restore himself. I could see that potentially happening with Kong in order to restore his abilities, and then Kong comes back bigger, stronger than ever. He now has some regenerative capabilities thanks to Ghidorah's DNA, and he now possesses Ghidorah's bioelectrical currents abilities because he shares some of the same cells with Ghidorah. Perhaps that's a human conspiracy theory where the Monarch has to obtain that DNA because it can be used for good or bad, perhaps create a new organic Titan that they go toe-to-toe against, or they need it to enhance Kong. So he's now strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Godzilla, alongside Godzilla to fight this other threat, or to go toe-to-toe against Godzilla. The scenario, you could just play it out in your head. But yeah, that's how exactly I see Kong getting his bioelectrical capabilities. So I see a severely wounded Kong getting it similar to how Godzilla was severely wounded in King of the Monsters, and Serizawa sacrificed himself to save Godzilla. I can see a scenario where that happens, where the humans sacrifice themselves to upgrade Kong, utilizing Ghidorah's DNA. Kong's bigger, stronger than ever. You see this epic roar, and then he roars, and like you can see like he's able to conduct lightning out his hands or something cool or like that. That's all potential theory. I want to know your thoughts on this thing. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think this is just utterly ridiculous and impossible to happen? Because remember, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla and Mothra fused together to obtain that burning form. Who's to say something can't happen with Kong and Ghidorah's severed head DNA? Ghidorah's blood, it's going to play a factor in some way, shape, or form. You don't know how it's going to affect the environment. You don't know how it's going to change things, but I see it all as a big possibility of happening. So anyways, let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this theory. Do you think it's utter bullshit? Do you think it's possible? Let me know. We'll chat about it some more. Thank you all so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. And discuss your theories on Godzilla vs. Kong. Blah, 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 blah. You get the point. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Take care now. Bye-bye then. And I shall see you all in the next video.